All right, guys, we have Matey here with us, and he is going to walk us through his Lemlist campaign that he used to get some fantastic results. So, Matey, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do before we jump in?
Hi, everybody. So yeah, my name is Matey Tsolov. I am the owner of a marketing agency called the Marketing Family, and I'm currently also the growth lead at a Belgian e-commerce growth agency called Dear Digital. What we do is we make people richer than they were yesterday in general, but yeah, we work with a variety of industries and B2B companies within those industries to grow their pipelines, systemize their approach towards their leads, and all in all ensure a seamless growth process when it comes to lead generation primarily. And yeah, in this particular case, I mean, in recent times, we've been doing a big focus on email marketing, and we've been testing a lot of tools and a lot of copies. It's been loads of fun.
Awesome. Well, why don't you pull up your campaign that we're going to review today for us and begin to walk us through it? And do you have the stats for that campaign? Can we kick it off by you going over what the statistics were when you ran this?
Yeah, sure. So the tool that I used for the job is called Lemlist. Some of you may have heard it, others may have not, but Lemlist is a pretty huge, let me ease you into it. So Lemlist is a pretty huge startup, well, scale up now, and they're only a few years old, but they've already crossed like, I don't know, huge valuation, and the tool is like the email platform they have created is extremely useful. Yeah. And it's one of those places where you can easily say your limit is your imagination. Like, it gives you so many options that you can choose from, and it easily falls down to how creative you feel and how much fun you want to have when you do cold emailing. Yeah. So down the road, we ran this campaign. I'll show it in a bit. We ran this campaign for one of our clients. And eventually we got some pretty cool results, which Lemlist's team detected, and they contacted us. They were like, hey, do you mind if we publish it in our template resource? We said, no problem. So it ended up in over here and on their website, where you guys can also find it if you need an example to work on. So let me know when you see my screen.
Perfect. I was just going to ask you.
Yeah. So it's in lemlist.com, email templates, and when you visit that page, you can just scroll around and you find this ugly mug, and that's one of the templates. And then if you scroll further down, you can see again the same mug with the template in question. So in this case, we'll be looking at this particular template, which was to how to promote your marketing service. It's pretty simple in its base, and what it achieved was, and they posted the results right here. Eventually, we used it on 177 leads, people that we contacted with this template, and out of them, 34% replied, which per industry standards, it's pretty okay.
Absolutely.
And they didn't post it here, but I remember by heart, because it was a while since we used this, but I do remember by heart that out of those 34%, which I can't put to an exact number right now because I'm not very good at math, but from those 34%, I believe that at least I think 60 or 70% were positive responses out of those 34, right? Which resulted in obviously a lot of calls for the client and a lot of business out of this one campaign. And they closed, I think, roughly about 150K from this one campaign.
How many clients was that? Do you remember?
Not particularly, but they had their service was the pricing of their service was, because it was a marketing agency that we supported through this campaign. Their service was had a pretty complex pricing range, so it's difficult to say, and I don't remember their average deal size.
But it was multiple clients, not just
but
one.
there was yeah, for sure. At least maybe around between 12 and 15 clients, I believe.
Out of this campaign.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Fantastic.
Yeah. No, well, they were very good at what they did. And obviously I can't quote like who they are, but they were very good at what they did, and their sales was amazing. So, I mean, we just supplied the leads. That's all.
Amazing. Well, let's dive into the template.
Yeah. So anyways, the template, and it's based pretty simple. Here they've only showcased the 3 messages. Essentially, we did add 2 more follow-up messages, but the majority of the responses were given to those first 3 messages. So there's no point of looking at the rest. We have kind of like a short introduction email message, followed up by a little bit more elaborate message with a dynamic image, which we're going to get into in a second. And then the third message, again, a follow-up, kind of like a, hey, kind Bob, do you remember I emailed you? Wake up, man. Or woman. Respond. So yeah, and now, like I said, we used Lemlist, this tool, to send these messages out. And I already took the liberty, this is my own Lemlist test account, so I already took the liberty of transferring all these 3 messages that you see here. I already transferred them here so you guys can watch it in the interface as we discuss it. So starting from the first message, as you can see, it's pretty much the same direct copy paste. As you can see, you have a section where you can choose and write any subject line that you like. And this section here provides you with the option to incorporate dynamic, a placeholder, what we call in the industry. It's basically, for those who don't know, so it's a short piece of, let's say, something like a code that can allow you to call values from a CSV file, from a table that you've prepared ahead of time, and call them within the copy itself. We'll demonstrate in a second. So same goes for the rest of the copy. Wherever you see these curly brackets, that's a placeholder. So we wrote the subject line. We continued first name, which obviously when you start sending out this message, you're going to be replaced by John, Ivan, Lori, whatever the names of your leads are. You say first name. If you ever consider running any of company name, so this is their business name that falls into this placeholder. Have you considered running any of company names offers via email, etc., etc.? Basically, just a light approach of kind of like caressing them with, have you ever thought about this? You probably have.
Right. Yeah.
Right? So the main purpose, what we were trying to test with this message was not to directly sell over it or anything like that, but just kind of like trigger their curiosity enough so that we would trigger them to actually look up who we are, like what it is that we do, and just research us and learn more about us. And of course, the company that we worked with, they had prepared in advance to make sure that if such research was done, a lot of cool things would pop up. But we're not going to get into details. By the way, just a disclaimer I forgot to mention earlier. Since we couldn't quote we couldn't say who our client was for a variety of reasons, I asked Lemlist to replace our client's name with my company's name, and here in the examples, and including in this photo, is just me. We're talking about the marketing family, but this wasn't used for the marketing family's benefits. So I just want to point that out.
Thanks for highlighting that.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. In any case, so we built the structure of the messages in this respective manner using placeholders, short sentences, straight to the point.
I just want to interject here. How many days do you normally set between the first few emails?
Oh, that's a very good question, about that. So this really depends on, it's a very complex answer to this question, and it's a very good question. But in general, what I would do is, first of all, look at each 2 messages context and by that judge, okay, if I wasn't sending this by automatic means, but I was writing it myself, what exactly would I do? Would I just, would I just
trying to reverse
day by day
engineer it.
manually? Yeah, exactly.
You're trying to make it feel as organic as you can.
Exactly. We've used, I'll give you an example. We've used messages where we said, so in case this is interesting for you, please find below this, I don't know, like a white paper that we recently wrote. We send this message, and then we immediately schedule a message to be sent a few minutes later saying, crap, I forgot to attach the white paper. Here it is. Right. So this is what the person would normally do if they, people people went for it. Yeah, it was people went for it, but technically it was an automatic message that was sent to hundreds of people in the matter of a few days, and yeah, it worked. So this is the first thing that I would do, is just judge the nature, the tone of voice, and the context of the messages. And if it's just business trip-like and there's no such opportunities to push two messages to send really fast one after the other, then normally what I would do is just keep it at least 2 days, 3 days apart. Give it some space, give them some time to react, a bare minimum. So yeah, in any case, the most successful message out of those three was the second message, and I'll show you why. Because in the second message, if you can see here in the template, we added this photo of our client holding 2 mugs, and on the mugs, we which were very light colored, on one mug we put his name, and it kind of looked like it was handwritten, right? And I'll show you how to do this in a second. And then on the second mug, we put what I explained earlier, a placeholder, but within the image itself. So this means that each next person that received this particular message, the mug automatically got named with their particular name, and it looked like it was handwritten with a marker. Yeah. So basically, and this came with, I'm prepared to bribe you with coffee, case studies, and no risk trial engagement, blah, blah, blah. Right? So with the sentence, I'm prepared to bribe you with a coffee, and you hold out 2 mugs, one with your name and one with theirs. This caught people's attention a lot, and we detected a huge percentage of responses directly referring to this particular image. Be like, we even got like, I don't need your service, but I'm going to take you up on the offer for the coffee. And even that still resulted in some calls. No sales, but some calls, and there was still sales data that we collected afterwards, right? So it's pretty fun. So here's how to use this particular function of Lemlist.
All right.
First, what you do is, as you're in the interface and you have written the gist of your copy, next you need to add the images. In this scenario, from what I can see, the image of my face with the coffee cups is at the end of the second message. So at the end of the bottom of step 2. So this would make it step 2 here. So first, what I need to do is create an image template. And the way I do this is, first I go to templates. There's several ways in which to do this, but this is one of them, probably the dorkiest one. And I hit create new template. I give it a name, Matey coffee mugs, for example. I don't know.
Sure.
We leave it a choice. And then on the right-hand side, we hit add element, image. And then over here, I've prepared the image in advance for the sake of this demonstration, but you can come up with your own images, of course. You can just either copy the image address from wherever it is, if it's stored online, and paste it over here. And then the interface would do this, right?
Super cool.
Or you can just hit the upload button and then use your own, computer to upload it. But either way, you upload it, you make sure that it's selected as a background image, and then it pops up on the background, and that's that. Next, we hit add element again. We're not finished. And we hit, let's say, mean text. So what this does is creates this little box over here that we can move around. Most of you guys probably used such interfaces for a variety of reasons. So in this little box, we're gonna write first my name, Matey. Was that my name? Yeah, that was my name. And we're gonna pick something of a font that is handwriting 1, handwriting 2, handwriting 3, and handwriting 4. So these are fonts that have been created by Lemlist for this particular purpose. And
Cool.
as you can see, when you change them, they switch like this. It's pretty neat. So the way I choose is just, I say, like, how would mine look if I go and try to write on a bunch of cups, right? Usually it will be a lot uglier, but I just try to pick one. And let's say I would go with this one, make it completely black, like so, for example. But you can play around with it, obviously. And then I just make it smaller, and I move it over.
This is so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're done. This is meme text number 1. Then we add another meme text. Now, instead of a name, like I said, we must add first name, right? A placeholder here. So we just do first name. Keep in mind that the way that you write first name and these placeholders are very sensitive. They're case sensitive, and it has to be the exact wording. Like if for example, this huge note, if you guys write first name with a small n, it's not going to work. It's just going to send them an image which says first name, which is, don't ask me how I learned that.
That's right.
But it's a mistake. It happens. Yeah, but that's why we do campaign monitoring, obviously. For such things to not happen. Then we again make it completely black. Then we choose what was handwriting 3 or 4? I don't know. Maybe I was handwriting 3, the other one.
I think you got it.
Yeah, 3. Yeah, exactly. Then and this is kind of like a tricky part, because keep in mind that some names that you're going to encounter are pretty darn long, and you have to make sure that this little box does not exceed the the size of the cup. Yeah, because we've had that too, like handwriting into the air. And people never asked us, like, wow, how did you do that? It looks magical. But yeah, so this is basically how it looks. And you click save. And voila. Obviously, if you want to be a perfectionist, you can just like play around with it more and make it even more perfect. Yeah, you have the option to invert it like this, but you can't make it so that the signs
wrapped around.
Wrapped around. Yeah, that's so it's generally my advice is when you're picking a photo or a place where you would add placeholders or handwritten stuff, make sure that it's small enough so that it's not visibly it's not easy for the naked eye to pick that it's not wrapped around the surface. Best thing is to use flat surfaces, obviously. And so much for the design crash course. Go back to test campaign, where we initially started doing all of this sequences. And now in step 2, we're just going to add this custom image by going to image templates and trying to find it here. Matey, coffee mugs. There it is. Select this template.
Excellent.
And this is a current thing that I think they're working on is like, I know we fit this box to be within the cups, but for some reason we got it here, it becomes a little bit larger. So it takes some tweaking. We're not going to go through that right now, but the gist is that
you just have to shrink it down a little bit more.
Yeah. You could shrink it down a little bit more, but it takes a little bit of tweaking. So we set our days, maybe like so, for example, and we hit save. And now next,
this is very cool.
In order to demonstrate this, first we gotta make sure that we have some leads that have a first name. So I added some test leads here at some point, and let's just add a new one just for the sake of it. Oops. Just gonna add one. I'm gonna call him Matt. Okay, we don't need a last name for this particular because we only call the first name, right? And I believe we would need Matt at. It doesn't matter, actually. We're not going to send the message. Right. Let's say that you are a co-founder of the marketing family, and company name, let's say the marketing family, because this is also present in the copy, and I think that's it for now. We hit create. It's going to pop here. And under review, we have the option to see what the copy is going to look like for the person who receives it, all 3 messages. So we see here, hey, Matt, do you consider running any of the marketing families offers via email, yada, 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 right? As you can see, everywhere where we have curly brackets in the first message, here, here, and here, already filled under review. And then in the second message, Matt, quick action introduction, yada, yada, yada. And then
Super
over here
cool.
we have
and there's
Matt,
the image.
Matey. Yeah, exactly. Simple as that.
Amazing.
And thus, taking this into consideration, just use your imagination. You can apply it on so many levels.
Sure.
Just,
yeah, absolutely. You can. Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you for showing us this. This is awesome. This is great.
You like it.
So is there anything that you learned the hard way in doing this that it's like, guys, don't make this mistake I made? You mentioned, make sure you have the curly brackets set up exactly as they present them, and the placeholder text is exact. Anything else that somebody who's doing this for the first time should double check, take an extra second to look at before we wrap up?
Yeah. Well, let me share my screen again. First thing is make sure that the placeholders that you use, okay, let's see. You guys can see my screen. So make sure that the placeholders you guys use are corresponding to the columns you guys have in your CSVs, right?
Right.
So for example, if let's say you have here a placeholder that's default within the software that's called company name, and it calls the name of the company from the CSV. But then in your CSV, you create a column that you call, let's say, business or something along those lines, something completely different.
Yeah.
When you're uploading the CSV, you have to make sure that you manually map your column business to this company name, right? It's going to give you this interface to do it. So make sure that your placeholders, whatever you're pulling information from, is mapped to the snippets here, to these little curly thingies, right? If they're not, it's not going to work. Second of all, with the images, like we already mentioned, make sure that whatever you put in the images, even if it's not dynamic images, even if it's not placeholders, even if it's just static things that you add, make sure that they print out well on your copy, because sometimes they just don't. It just
things can happen.
Yeah, double check. And thirdly, anything that might go wrong with your copy can be detected over here on your review. So this is why Lemlist added this part, because before, imagine that we have like 200 leads over here listed. What this gives me is to spend the opportunity to spend at least 5 minutes just scrolling through the messages. And if I already know which parts of my copy have the highest chance to screw up, right? In this case, for example, it was with the image of, if we have a longer name, who knows, it might jump out. And let's say we have someone who has like 2 names with a with dash in the middle, who's probably fall out. So we scroll down, we inspect. If we detect anything that looks odd or we know is just not going to work, you go back into the sequence section and you just re-edit it until it works. This is the best advice I can give you. And then you launch.
Perfect. Thank you so much for doing this with us, Matej. We really appreciate it. All the way from where are you based out of?
Currently in Bulgaria, Eastern Europe.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you for capping off your day doing this video together. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to sharing this with people.
Thank you.